Yeah. Let's go. Sixers win. The Sixers win. You know what this season is teaching me, man? This season is teaching me that for whatever reason in this lifetime, no matter what is happening, I enjoy Sixers winning basketball games. It's just, bro. You know, I just said like a couple games ago, I'm going to start rooting against them because I want them to lose and get a top 6 pick or whatever. Because the first round pick is top 6 protected and all that stuff. Then I said, you know, you need to start tanking and everything. And they do. Like, let's be serious. But like, all context and facts and everything aside, I still really enjoy the Sixers winning. It's just never going to change, dude. Like they could be one game out of. I can't believe I'm about to say this scenario out loud. They could be one game out of. They could be one loss away from that top 6 pick and win the game. And I would still kind of be happy that the Sixers won. I would be mad that they dropped out of 6, but there's a lottery anyway. But anyway, I just enjoy the Sixers winning basketball games. It is what it is. And shout out to my guy RJ. I'm just here for the vibes. You know, there's RJ. RJ came in his stream a couple weeks back and said, I'm just here for the vibes. And I've been saying it ever since. And RJ, I think I'm literally going to make Sixers t-shirts that say I'm just here for the vibes. I got to fix my chat thing. I'll be back in 1 second. There we go. Now I can put the chat on the screen. No, it's not working. Okay, my chat pop-up app doesn't want to work today. Anyway, shout out to RJ. I'm just here for the vibes. We know this is not a championship contending team. We know all of that. But the Sixers win a game. And it's fun when they win. And they beat the Chicago Bulls, the 19-27 Chicago Bulls, who were 2 games ahead of them for the 10th seed. So they are now 1 game out of the 10th seed. That should be 1 game, right? I thought they were 2 games. Roy said they're 2 games behind the Bulls. I thought they were 2 games behind the Bulls yesterday. Let me go to standings here real quick, and then we're gonna talk about we'll talk about the game. I'll give you my thoughts on everything, and especially I'm gonna give my thoughts on Podcast P leaving the game with a pinky injury. Here's the standings. The Chicago Bulls are 1 game. The 76ers are 1 game out of the 10th seed after beating the Chicago Bulls tonight. Bulls are 17.5 behind. The Sixers are 18.5 behind. 1 game out of the play-in tournament. And, you know, the people that have been saying, you know, why are they winning? They need to be tanking. I need you guys to understand that Daryl Morey is not going to tank. Nick Nurse is not going to tank. These are guys that have egos and reputations. And like I said last show, it's pretty funny to think that they lost all of these games in such a terrible way and they weren't tanking. They were trying to win. So that's pretty crazy to think about. But these guys are not going to try to lose. They're not going to throw in the towel. Daryl Morey's going to try to make a move at the trade deadline, and they're going to try to sneak in to the play-in tournament, and they're going to try to get Joel Embiid healthy. That's what's going to happen. Is it going to work? No, dude. Of course it's not going to work, but that's what they're going to try to do, and we need to accept that. So at the end of the day, the Sixers won 2 in a row. You know, when they beat the Cavs, I said they need to keep winning and they need to beat the Denver Nuggets next Friday for me to really believe that they could do anything. And they kept winning. They beat the Bulls. So shout out to that. Shout out to everybody in here. 209 right now. Please do me a favor, hit the like button before we get started. Give me 200 likes on the stream. Subscribe to the channel. We are approaching 27,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. And call the show 951-981-7683 or call in on the Discord. Link is pinned at the top of the chat. Sixers win 109-97 on the back of Tyrese Maxey. And I'm going to talk about Tyrese Maxey in a minute and what I think about how he's been playing recently. But we're going to start with Podcast P. We're going to get this out of the way early. Okay? Paul George, in 13 minutes, the first quarter and a couple minutes into the second, he had 9 points. I don't know. He wasn't looking crazy effective, but he had 9 points. I thought maybe he could eventually, eclipse 20 for the game, and then I wouldn't be so mad at him. But he left the game, and he didn't come back in the second half. And Keith Pompey tweets during the third quarter, Paul George, what's it called? Not parentheses. Paul George, parentheses, injury to fifth finger on the left hand. Keith Pompey typed the words, injury to fifth finger. Pinky finger. Do you think Keith Pompey put fifth finger in that tweet because it sounded better than pinky finger? Because saying he left with a pinky finger injury is crazy. But anyway, Paul George left the game with a pinky injury. And he didn't come back. And I didn't see an update. If any of y'all saw an update, let me know. But there was no video of him breaking it or dislocating it or anything. First of all, if somebody... One day we're going to figure the camera out, man. One day we're going to figure it out. Here's the thing about leaving the game with a pinky injury. If somebody had said, as a joke, Paul George left the game with a pinky injury, you'd be like, haha, that's funny. That's something you would say to troll a player on Twitter to make him sound soft. If you say, hey, what's Paul George's injury? And somebody's like, oh, he probably hurt his pinky. He probably hurt his pinky. There's a guy in a bar somewhere right now saying, yeah, he probably hurt his pinky. And then someone's like, no, he did. He did hurt his pinky. What? Yeah, he left the game with a pinky injury. That's... I don't think I've ever heard of it before. I honestly don't think I've ever heard of it before. We've all played basketball. We've all jammed fingers and hyperextended fingers. You keep playing, dude. It swells up the next day and then you deal with it, but you don't leave the freaking game with a pinky injury. Remember when Joel Embiid broke his ring finger and the shit was sideways? It was pointed this way? And they snapped it back in, taped it together, and he played the rest of the game. And that was on his shooting hand. Paul George hurt his pinky finger on his non-shooting hand and didn't come back in the game. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is the softest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. How is this guy getting $50 million a year? You can't. Somebody someday has to write a book on this team. Because you can't make shit up better than this. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Money 00 says the Sixers are being petty. They could have just said finger injury. Nah, fuck that. It's a pinky injury, dude. He hurt his pinky. What a soft bum. But the 76ers win without him. And that's what we got to talk about. Because Tyrese Maxey had 31 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals, and was a +6 on 12 for 23 from the floor and 5 for 13 from 3. Tyrese Maxey, for the second game in a row, has looked like the Tyrese Maxey of old. The Tyrese Maxey we came to know and love the last couple of years. He looks comfortable, he looks confident, and he looks like the leader of the team. And for Paul George to go out in the first half and not return in the second half, and the Sixers to win this game, even if it is against the Bulls, who stink just as much as we do, for the Sixers to win this game is pretty serious without Paul George. Because look what the 76ers were doing in the beginning of this season. Without Paul George and Joel Embiid, they were getting smoked by everybody. You got Tyrese Maxey getting back into a groove and looking confident and looking comfortable. He looks more patient. So many times this season, he's played games where his shots just looked rushed, or it just looked like he wasn't in rhythm and was just forcing up bad shots just to get shots off. He looks much more in control of himself and decisive and sure of himself these past couple of games. And that makes me very happy. You know, the Bulls made a run to start the third, and Tyrese Maxey was a big part of bringing us back in the third quarter. And, you know, he was a big part of pushing the lead in the fourth quarter. Eventually, they got up by about 13. They ended up winning the game by 12. I believe they were up by 13 in the fourth. So just nice to see Tyrese Maxey really start to look like the all-star guard that we're used to seeing. And we were confused this season as to why, you know, his shooting percentages were down the way that they were and why he just looked like out of sorts and kind of looked like he was regressing a little bit compared to what we're used to, because every season he gets better, you know. So makes me really happy to see Tyrese get in that groove. 31, 9, and 5 for Tyrese Maxey. Now, here's my theory on why the 76ers just won 2 games without Joel Embiid and just won a game essentially without Paul George versus what they were doing in the beginning of the season with basically the same team. Right. Let me get the Sixers schedule here and we can see their first couple of games. I think that's what I want to go to. Hold up. Schedule. Here, look. This is what they were doing at the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season, Tyrese Maxey leading the charge. Sixers playing without Paul George and Joel Embiid. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks by 15. They lost to the terrible Toronto Raptors by 7. They lost to the Detroit Pistons. They lost to the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant and a couple other players. They lost to Phoenix. They lost to LA. They lost to the Lakers. They lost to the Knicks. They lost to the Cavs. They lost to the Orlando Magic. They lost to the Miami Heat. They lost to the Memphis Grizzlies. Clippers, Houston. They stunk in the very beginning of the season without Paul George and without Joel Embiid. And Tyrese Maxey was chucking bad shots, and they could not. They couldn't hang with any team in the league. And now they win this game without Paul George and without Joel Embiid. And the reason is what I was saying from the beginning of the season and what most of you were saying from the beginning of the season. Where are the athletes? Where are the young guys? You know, that's what we were saying. Oh, dude, in those games, Justin Edwards was not playing. Adem Bono was not playing in those games. Nick Nurse refused to play the young guys in the beginning of the season. He had to go with all the veterans. And they absolutely sucked because they were too old and slow to keep up with any teams in the league. And now, because of injuries, Justin Edwards is playing 29 minutes. Shout out to you guys that believed what I believed. A 6'6" guard out of Kentucky, undrafted, but a 6'6" guard who can shoot and who can dribble, pass, and shoot. I used to say it all the time. Justin Edwards is 6'6" and he can dribble, pass, and shoot. Put him on the floor. I watch all these teams that play 21-year-old kids all the time, dude. And Nick Nurse wouldn't do it. And now he's forced to do it, and this team looks incredibly more competitive. Shout out to Justin Edwards, especially in this game, because he was 1 for 6. He was 0 for 3 from 3. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but look, plus 14. That means basically every time Justin Edwards was on the floor, the 76ers were outscoring the Chicago Bulls. Because of effort, keeping plays alive, diving for loose balls, not getting beat in transition, playing good defense. So the 76ers start to do exactly what we've all been saying they should have done from the beginning of the season, and they look more competitive. It's not rocket science. If Nick Nurse would have done this at the beginning of the year, we wouldn't be 17-27. For all you always blame the coach guys. Look! The coach is doing what I said he should have been doing the whole year, and now they look competitive. But you started the season 0 for 20 because you refused to do this. Yeah. No, the roster's not good without Joel Embiid. The roster's not great. But Nick Nurse was refusing to play these guys. Now you got Justin Edwards 29 minutes, Adem Bona 19 minutes, and Ricky Council 11 minutes. And look what happens. Wow. Just wow. You know what I'm saying, man? I want to say this. First of all, shout out to Gershon Yabusele. He didn't have a good game either. He was 3 for 10. He was 0 for 5 from 3. But, dude, just every single night, Gershon Yabusele plays his heart out. And the 76ers have missed a guy like that for years and years and years and years. They missed a guy like that. A guy who brings a certain skill set and size and a position to the team and also plays his heart out. We've had guys that play their hearts out, right, who just aren't very good or are undersized or whatever, right? Like when Pat Beverly was on this team, he was a guy that you would say played his heart out, but, you know, he was washed and now he's playing overseas and making podcasts. So it's nice to have a player like Yabusele who can really affect the game with his size and his skill set and just absolutely plays his heart out. And Kelly Oubre, now for 2 years, is one of those guys who just brings a certain level of size and athleticism to the team and absolutely plays his heart out. Kelly Oubre was a plus 18. The Sixers were playing tough defense in this game when it mattered. Justin Edwards had 3 steals in the game. Kelly Oubre had a steal. Tyrese Maxey had 2 steals. He's averaging 2 steals a game. He's 3rd in the NBA in steals per game. Eric Gordon had 2 steals. Kyle Lowry had a steal. Reggie Jackson had a steal. But, you know, shout out to Yabusele and Kelly Oubre and Justin Edwards and all of them for playing great defense. Adem Bona got into foul trouble and, you know, finished the game with 5 fouls. Nurse didn't put him back in the game there in the 4th. He had 7 rebounds. He had a block. I thought he played pretty good defense again and was called for some fouls that were questionable. But just having the paint presence of Adem Bona in the game changes everything. It changes everything. And, you know, it's nice to see him getting the opportunities. And I hope that Nurse continues to give him the opportunities. I think the 76ers are better with Adem Bona straight up as the backup center than with Andre Drummond. I do think that. I thought Adem Bona should have been the backup center to start the season with him beat out. And he got DNP. Well, he's here now. And the 76ers are holding out a couple of players with these ghost injuries. Andre Drummond with a sprained toe. Caleb Martin has a mysterious hip injury. I think at the trade deadline, if Daryl Morey is looking at this roster as a whole and looking at these young guys and saying these young guys have been much more effective than those guys. I know Nicky Nurse loves his veterans, but these young guys have been much more effective than those guys. He might be trading Andre Drummond, KJ Martin, and Caleb Martin. He might be. I know for a fact he's trading KJ Martin. KJ Martin's not coming back this season. I know for a fact Daryl Morey's trading KJ Martin. He might be trading Caleb Martin and Andre Drummond too. What else do I want to say about this game? I want to say shout out Eric Gordon. I have ripped Eric Gordon to shreds this season so many times because he's just looked washed the whole season basically. The last two games, Eric Gordon has been on fire from three-point range. Last night, he hit a three from the Wells Fargo logo. And in this game, Eric Gordon wasn't playing terrible defense. He had 2 steals in this game. So many times this season, I've seen him get beat in transition or get beat on a switch because he's too old and slow to retreat. Plus 12. Eric Gordon was a plus 12. And he's hitting threes. And he's hitting deep threes, which is stretching the floor, spacing the floor. This is the Eric Gordon that we thought we were getting. We knew, he's kind of towards the end of his career, but he can still score. He can still hit some deep threes and space the floor and hold his own on the defensive end. This is the Eric Gordon that we thought we were getting the beginning of the year. So maybe it's just taking this team 44 games to build chemistry. I want to say this too. When they got blown out by the Denver Nuggets and the Denver Nuggets media was saying that they could hear Nick Nurse screaming in the locker room. Since Nick Nurse screamed his face off in the locker room at this team, they have been playing with 1,000% more fight and heart and energy and effort. So that might have something to do with it. But yeah, they win 2 games in a row, man. Shout out to RJ with the $5 super chat. Thank you, RJ. And my chat thing isn't working, so I can't put it on the screen. I'm sorry about that, but I'll read it. Just being here for the vibes makes the games easier to watch. I love that I have 0 expectations. Yeah, it's nice, but RJ, I fall into the trap, and I'm going to get to the phone line in a second. I see you guys waiting to call in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for calling the show. RJ, I try to do what you're doing, but I fall right into the trap every single time. You know what I mean? I fall right into the trap. I say I'm just here for the vibes, and then I see the Sixers winning for 3 or 4 for 2.5 quarters, and I'm like, they can win this game. The Sixers can win this game. And everyone's like, don't we want them to lose? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want them to win because I'm insane. If the mic's cutting out, refresh your page on YouTube or close the app and open it again. I don't know why I have that issue. I didn't have that issue before. I got to figure that out. But usually refreshing the page fixes it. Something with YouTube, I got to figure that out. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Eric Gordon. I do want to say Kyle Lowry's absolutely atrocious and terrible, and he brings nothing to the team at all. He needs to stay on the bench as the assistant coach or whatever. Like, there's no reason to bring Kyle Lowry back. The Sixers, they're better without him. Jeff Doughton Jr. is better than Kyle Lowry. Jeff Doughton Jr. gets a DNP in this game after some really solid performances from Jeff Doughton Jr. Kyle Lowry comes back from a hip injury, and Jeff Doughton Jr. doesn't get any minutes anymore. Jeff Doughton Jr. had some serious buckets in that Cavs game. And he was a big part of them winning that game. And he was Jeff Doughton Jr. sharing the floor with Tyrese Maxey looked like a pretty good dynamic because Tyrese is better with a facilitating point guard on the floor. And he brings back Kyle Lowry. But I think the fourth quarter lineup, I should have paid attention to what the lineup really was to finish the game. But there were some lineups where Reggie Jackson was running point and Maxey was running off ball as a shooting guard. So maybe Nick Nurse is learning Tyrese Maxey also. But yeah, Sixers win, man. I'm going to get to the phone line. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out on this Saturday night. All of these post-game live shows are brought to you by Game Time Ticket app. Download the Game Time Ticket app. Use promo code CLNS for $20 off. Game Time is a ticket app where the tickets get cheaper as the game gets closer. What's the next game, man? 76ers Wizards. That's a top result. Okay, let's go to Sixers here, and we will see top event. Okay, Sixers play the Lakers on Tuesday, and those tickets are $78 because it's LeBron James. Look at the difference, actually. So if you want to save some money and just want to go to a Sixers game, go to the Kings game. Look, LeBron James in town, $78. Sacramento Kings, $4. LeBron James in town, $78. Kings game, $4. Game Time Ticket app filters out the fluff so you don't have to. They do all the guesswork. They tell you what the good tickets are. You don't have to go on Facebook Marketplace or anywhere else to try to find the best seat in the house or the cheapest ticket in the house. They do it. Look, right here. Superstar deal, $51 right there, row 2, $115. And then they'll give you the overall cheapest ticket in the house, $3. The cheapest ticket in the house against the Kings on Wednesday is $3. Again, use promo code CLNS on the Game Time Ticket app for $20 off. And I didn't talk to Game Time about the discount because they didn't anticipate Sixers tickets being $3. $17. I'm not sure if you get $17 in credit or not. I'll have to figure that out. But shout out to Game Time for sponsoring the channel. Let's go to the phone line, man. We got a Rita. Does that say Rita on the phone line? Is that Rita? Hey, you're on the show.
Yo, hello?
Yo, what's going on?
What's up, bro?
How's it going, man? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Luca, and we calling from PA.
Luca. Shout out to Luca. Where are you at in PA, bro?
Norristown, 2418 Dairy Lane.
Did you say, whoa, bro, don't say your address on the air. What'd you say, Lewis? Did you say Lewistown?
No, Norristown.
Norristown. All right, man. What's going on, bro? What'd you think?
No, much. I was just asking what your thoughts on Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson's playing time this game.
What my thoughts are on Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson?
Yeah, they're playing time.
They're playing time in this game?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I hated every second of it, man. I absolutely hated every second of it. I thought it was insane that, Kyle Lowry comes back from a hip injury and the first two players off the bench for Nick Nurse are Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry. I thought it was insane. Reggie Jackson wasn't terrible in the game, though. He hit a three. He was playing some point with Maxey running off. Kyle Lowry's atrocious and needs to retire and brings nothing to the team. There's no reason for him to be there. That's what I think. What do you think?
They're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Reggie Jackson is prime. He used to be shifty as hell, too.
Yeah, man. Age is real, bro. Hey, I'm 38 years old. I'm trying to get back into playing basketball right now, and the how difficult it is and how much slower I am than I used to be, it's real. These dudes are old. They're done. They need to be in the 30 and over league at the YMCA. That's what they need to be. Yo, Luca, what else you got, man?
Maxey's so inconsistent.
Luca, what else you got? What'd you say? Maxey's so inconsistent?
Yes, this year he is.
Hey, he's two good games in a row, man. We're trending upward. We're trending upward, man. All right, Luca, thanks for calling the show, bro. We'll talk to you next time. Shout out to Luca on the phone line. Wasn't really saying a whole bunch of nothing. He kind of called the show and asked me a question. Shout out to Luca. Thank you for calling. We're going to go over to Randy. We're going to go over to Randy on the phone line. Yo, what's going on?
Oh, yo, what's up? What's up, DJ?
What's up, man? How you doing? Is your name Randy?
Hold on, let me pause the YouTube video. Hold on, my name's actually Sam, but I comment on all your Instagram stuff. How you feeling after this?
What's up, Sam? What's up, Sam, bro? I'm feeling good, man. How are you feeling? I just gave my thoughts. You give me your thoughts, Sam. What do you think?
I'm feeling pretty good. I lost faith since probably the 5th or 6th time that Joel Embiid played a game and went back out. But it did feel damn good to beat the Cavs. This game was important to me because for once we actually ran away with it in the fourth quarter instead of going on a 20-0 losing run and then fumbling it all at the end. So that was what's good to me. We were tied up towards the middle of the fourth, and then we actually went on a run and sealed the game instead of fumbling.
Yo, that's a good take, man, because even against the Cavs, it's felt like they were trying to lose it still at the end of the game. Even with 20 seconds left in that game, when Donovan Mitchell hit that 3 to make it a 2-point game, we were like, yo, can they just finish a win? And yeah, that's a good take, man. They finished the win tonight, man, for sure.
No, exactly. There hasn't been a game. I genuinely can't think of a game this season where we won and it was close, and I was able to feel comfortable until the last buzzer because we always let it get way too close. And I want to pay my respects to Eric Gordon tonight, even though he's been playing hot ass all season. I was really that 3 he had, even though he was dead open, I saw him take that 3, and in my mind I'm just like, yeah, that's an air ball, and then they're gonna come and rally back. But he hit it. He took that foul too. So he had some good steals. The steals were huge.
Yeah, I agree. For Eric Gordon, yeah, dude. Yeah.
I didn't even know that he had deep, hands like that. Those were 2 really good steals. If he could do that and nothing else, I'd be happy because we have no offensive rebounds. Oh, and Kelly Oubre's rebounding too was another huge thing for me. I love those.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Eric, man. So Sam, how do you feel about this? Because the first half of the stream, I was asking the live chat, if the Sixers win this game, do you feel good about it, or does it still not matter because you feel like they're tanking and it doesn't matter? How do you feel about them winning these 2 games in a row?
I'm kind of in a hard place because I do have faith that we can get the 10 seed or something like that and make it into the playoffs. But as much as I think that we can make it into the playoffs, I know there's no way we're getting past the second round with Podcast P and Joel Embiid. But I don't know, maybe Podcast P will injure a pinky and he won't even be playing. I think that we're better a lot of times without Paul George. And I think that if we have more time like this during the season without him and can get more used to it, maybe we can make a little run. But I do have faith in us getting into the playoffs somehow. I do.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy to think that we're better without Paul George and he's on a max contract.
Yeah, okay. But that's just how he is, and it was nice. I'm glad that Zach LaVine didn't totally go off on us tonight because I watched your video the other day about how we missed out on Zach LaVine, and that was oh my God, that hit so hard because I wanted him on our team so bad. So I was coming in tonight thinking he was going to go off for 40 and make us look stupid.
Dude, the Sixers, these past 2 games, they played maybe the best perimeter defense I've seen them play all season.
Yeah, no, he's stepping up. I don't know, maybe. And I mean, there is all the talk about how, of course, he has to get accustomed to it, and it's the same James Harden stuff where he's used to carrying the rock. But the thing is, he didn't really give up. He doesn't really give up the rock. Anytime he's in the game, he likes to do that step back, the dribble, step back, dribble, step back. You know what I'm talking about? Pisses me off. But
yeah, me too.
Whatever. I want to know what had Tyrese Maxey all hot. I'm really curious about that because I hardly ever see him get mad at a fan like that.
Oh, yeah. He did get mad at a fan. I forgot about that, dude. Good take. Good call. I mean, good point. I forgot about that completely. Yeah, that's, yeah.
I'm going to have to keep an eye on the post game. I know they're going to ask him about it because that was interesting. I think the fan got kicked out.
Fired him up a little bit, man.
Yeah, maybe it worked.
Dude, he's been having a good couple of games, man. What else you got?
I'm just so glad we had Tyrese Maxey. If we didn't have Tyrese Maxey on this team, we'd be 3-40.
We were almost
Like,
3-40 with him, but some things
That's
turned around a
true,
little bit.
True.
All right,
I'm glad
Sam.
he's at least playing better, though, because you're right. He was on that slump.
He is. 2 games in a row, man. He's playing good. He's in his last 5 games. He's averaging 30 points and 7 assists. So on pretty good efficiency.
When I heard Kate Scott bring up how he's like 7th in the NBA in points per game, I had not realized how consistent he's been doing this.
Yeah, he's been scoring. It's the efficiency that's been down this season, but he's been scoring since the beginning. It's just been like 30 points on 30 shots type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Sam, I appreciate the call, bro. Thank you for calling. Call back anytime.
Word. I'm glad I got to be on the show. Have fun. Have
All
a
right,
good
man.
night.
Take it easy. Shout out to Sam on the phone line. Yeah, he makes a good point, man. The Sixers finish out a game, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, they actually, dude, I love that point. Thank you, Sam, for that point, man, because it's not something that I was thinking about. Yeah, this team always collapses. They always make it a close game at the end. They always do something. Is this the first time the 76ers had a lead in a game and then extended the lead and just had a comfortable win by the time the buzzer was over? You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel that way too. But like realistically, I'm not going crazy about 2 wins in a row. And it was the Chicago Bulls, although I do feel like the Sixers are playing harder with more effort and heart and hustle than they have all season. And this is some of the best perimeter defense I've seen them play all year, the past 2 games. Something definitely changed after that Denver game. We'll just have to see, man. I guess we're going to get an update soon on Joel Embiid. I'm struggling, man, because like I don't want to believe in this team again. I was out. I was all the way out. It was over. It was done. I was all the way out. I don't want them to bring me back in and make me believe that they can do something. That's ridiculous. But they are one game behind the Chicago Bulls for the 10th seed. And here's the thing, I'm not believing that they can win a championship, but I do think they're going to get into the play-in tournament. And I don't think the team is going to tank because Nick Nurse doesn't want to lose. He has a reputation to uphold. Daryl Morey, of course, does not want all of the things that he did to look as bad as they've looked so far this season. He obviously wants Joel Embiid to come back healthy so it doesn't look terrible that he signed him until 2029. He wants Paul George to get back to what Paul George does so it doesn't look terrible that he's signed him until 2029. So the coach and the GM are going to try to win. If they get in the play-in tournament and get out of it and then get smoked in the first round, then that's the probably highest probability this season because they're not going to tank. I think they are going to get into the play-in tournament and maybe get smoked in the first round. If some kind of miracle happens and Joel Embiid gets healthy by then, and they look like what they looked like on Christmas Day in a 7-game series, maybe they shock the world. But the odds of that happening are pretty close to 0%. And Paul George left the game with a pinky injury. RJ says he'll believe once they get to 500. Fair enough, man. Let's take one more call, and then we're up out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out on a Saturday night. What's going on? You're on the show.
Hey, what's up? This is Tony from Jersey.
What's up, Tony? Shout out to Tony from Jersey, man.
What's happening, man? Hey, I heard the last caller talking about how we play better without Paul George. Completely disagree. I mean, I do see some flaws in Paul George's game. Yes, he's getting slower, no doubt. But he still brings great defense. He brings some ball movement, another ball handler to the team as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else can we expect from the guy? I mean, it's, one night it's 15 points, and the other night it's 30 points. I'll take that any day over Tobias Harris. Any day.
Well, yeah,
I think
I agree with you. I agree with you. But if you would have, but they didn't. It wasn't like they got Paul George in place of Tobias Harris. You know what I'm saying? I'll take Paul George over Tobias Harris, of course. They had a clean slate, and they gave all the money to Paul George.
that's where they went wrong.
Yeah.
But but you know, what's done is done, and I do think as a whole community, we need to give Paul George a little bit more respect. And that is a hot take, but I do see the value he gives to this team, especially on our best days. I see the impact that he makes.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I see.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say, like, skill wise, obviously I see that too. You know what I mean? He does. His assist numbers are up. He does facilitate the ball from that position. He does play good defense, but flat out effort and heart and completely disappearing in second halves and having, bro, the game that they lost in overtime where he had 0 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. No, we don't need to cut Paul George any slack at all. To sign a max contract and to play with, dude, he looks like he doesn't care. Let's call it what it is. He out there jogging around, shooting step back jumpers like he's at a playground and taking his paycheck and going home. He looks like he does not care at all. We absolutely do not have to cut Paul George any slack at all. We actually should pick it up to a higher notch and berate him until he retires.
I see what you're saying. And throughout them times, that was the whole team, though, dude. The whole team was acting that way. I mean, let's also keep it real there.
This is you're deflecting right now. You're doing that too now. You're saying, but everybody played that way. But everybody did this. This is whataboutism now. What about this guy that didn't care? $50 million.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's no doubt he's not worth all that money. I mean, 10 years ago, yeah.
Right.
But this ain't 10 years ago.
Right.
So, but another point though, I'll move on to the PG topic.
I understand. No, it's a great topic, bro, and I'm glad you called with a little bit of a different angle than I take on Paul George, and I appreciate that. Like, yeah, he came here thinking I'm the third option. I'm on the downside of my career. If I get a max contract to be the third option on a team, I'm taking that all day. I understand why he took it, and I understand that he wasn't expected to lead this team, and he wasn't expected to be a main guy, and you know, so I get that.
Yeah.
So we knew he wasn't.
Thing about Paul George, I do think there's times when if he doesn't have it, dude, like you don't got it that night. I mean, he just keeps chucking and chucking and chucking. That's about my biggest flaw with him.
Yeah, because that's where he's at in his career now. He's a make or miss player. He still has a jump shot, but if it's off, he's giving you nothing on the offensive end.
Yeah.
But I do agree what people, how people look at it, because if Joel Embiid was healthy, we wouldn't be attacking Paul George like this. So I get that too. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
Fact.
Yeah, I get that too. I appreciate it, bro.
One last thing, if you still
no,
have
go ahead,
time.
man. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead.
Caleb Martin. Yeah, he's got to go. I mean, I don't think he really brings anything to the team except for good defense. The trade deadline is up ahead. I do think we can package him and Andre Drummond and get something. I don't know what, but we can do something. I think we can make a run. We will make the play-in. We package some players, like I said, and let's see what we got.
I think that's what they're going to do.
At the end of the day, with the healthy Embiid, you always got a chance.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to trade Andre Drummond, Caleb Martin, and KJ Martin. And I think they're going to try to add a piece or two, and they're going to try to win. Whether it works or not, chances are slim. If Joel Embiid, chances of Joel Embiid coming back healthy doesn't seem like it's something that's ever going to happen. But they're going to try. Yeah. They're going to try to do it. So I think I agree with you. I think they're going to do something at the trade deadline. They're going to try. You know what I mean?
I hope so. Crossing my fingers, man. I'm a diehard fan, and I just want to watch them in April.
All right, Tony. Thanks for calling the show, man. Yeah, thank you so much for calling. Call back anytime, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to Tony from Jersey, man. And I love that he called with a little bit of a different opinion than me on certain things. I love that, and anybody that has a different opinion than me, on something, feel free to call and feel free to express it, and it's never nothing personal. We're just talking hoops, I get where people are coming from, again, that Paul George was not expected to be a number one option on this team, and everybody knew he was on the downside of his career. We just thought it was a really good third option, and that's what Daryl Morey thought too. And if Joel Embiid was healthy, maybe we wouldn't be attacking Paul George like this. But it doesn't change the fact that he looks incredibly soft. He looks like he doesn't care most of the time. Then he goes the next day and makes a podcast episode with somebody talking about how great the Oklahoma City Thunder are and talking about all it just seems not locked in. It just feels like he doesn't care. The optics aren't good. And then you go out there and lose games and put up 14 points per game, etc. I don't think we need to cut Paul George any slack because this is Philly and this is what Philly does. And that too, bro. If you want to come to an organization and chill and vibe and coast, then you should have went to the Brooklyn Nets. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to come to Philly and do that. This is the wrong fan base to come and try to do that. So if Paul George gets harassed by Philly fans, that's his own damn fault. Anyway, man, I appreciate you guys for hanging out, man. Sixers win 2 in a row. Another great podcast episode, helped by you guys in the chat and you guys calling the show. And yeah, man, we'll see what happens next. Lakers, Kings, Nuggets. Lakers, Kings, Nuggets are next, man. We'll see. And the trade deadline is 9 days away. Shit's about to get real. Sicko Nation. You are absolutely insane, and I love you. I'll see you soon.